It's summer in Arizona and it is hot. If you've ever gardened in the desert, you know exactly what I mean. My garden looks a little crispy this time of year because I try not to use too much water. Water is precious in the desert, and honestly, I don't want to spend hours tending a garden in triple-digit temperatures. Because of that, I've spent years trying to create a garden that is low maintenance, drought-tolerant, and filled with plants that are either perennial or self-seeding annuals. I want plants that can withstand the heat and still look beautiful, and recently I got a chance to find out whether I'd succeeded. A few months ago, I had back surgery and was unable to garden at all. For nearly 2 months, my garden was completely neglected. To my surprise, it didn't die. It thrived. In fact, it thrived so well that it became overgrown. I wish I had taken photos of the pool area before I started pruning. You could barely see the sidewalk because flowers and vines had crept toward the water. The only photo I managed to get was this Tropicana behind me falling into the patio furniture. And this is what the area looks like after some pruning. It's certainly not up to my usual standards. I'm still recovering and can't do any heavy gardening yet, but considering how little attention it has received, I'm pretty pleased with how it looks. Today, I thought I'd share some of the plants that survived our Arizona summer with almost no help from me. The garden around my pool is one of my favorite spots. When we moved here, the entire area was covered in rock. We removed much of it and experimented with lots of different plants before discovering which varieties could tolerate the west-facing exposure. The reflected heat from the block wall and the additional heat bouncing off the pool. It's an incredibly tough growing environment. Some of my largest plants are Tacoma stands, hibiscus, cannas, and tropicanas. The Tacoma stands grows aggressively with very little water. The cannas and tropicanas spread through underground rhizomes and constantly send up new shoots. They do need more water than many of my other plants, but with enough ground cover around them, they perform beautifully. For ground cover, I rely heavily on flowering plants. One of my favorites is perennial lantana. It comes in yellow, orange, pink, and purple varieties and seems completely unfazed by summer heat. I also grow a lot of self-seeding annuals. This is black-eyed Susan, a type of Rudbeckia that grows year-round in my garden. Take a look at these seed heads. This one has already dropped all its seed, but this one still has a few attached. You can harvest seed heads like these to plant elsewhere in your garden or to share with friends. This dying Rudbeckia has already scattered hundreds of seeds. Some landed on the pathway. But most will eventually reach the soil and grow into next season's flowers. That's one reason I love self-seeding plants. They do a lot of the work for you. This variety is another Rudbeckia, either Gloriosa Daisy or Indian Summer. I love the orange blooms mixed among the yellow black-eyed Susans. Here's another Rudbeckia seed head, and growing among them is Lanceleaf coreopsis. Coreopsis produces a dainty flower and soft seed heads that are easy to harvest and distribute. Like Rudbeckia, it self-seeds readily and returns year after year. Another ground cover that grows extremely well here is potato vine. In fact, it grows almost too well. While I was recovering, it completely covered my pool cool deck in just a matter of weeks. I trimmed it back 2 weeks ago, but you can already see it creeping toward the pool again. It's amazing how aggressively it seeks moisture. It also climbs into my Tacoma stands. So if you decide to grow it, be prepared to either contain it or prune it regularly. Bananas also grow well here. They don't mind the heat at all. I don't water enough to produce great banana fruits, but I absolutely love the tropical look they bring to the garden. Unfortunately, while I was recovering, they grew too close to the garden border and actually pushed it outward. That's a project I'll have to tackle once I'm fully healed. Moving to the front garden, things definitely look more stressed during summer, but several plants continue performing year after year. Coreopsis plains is one of them. It's heat-tolerant, drought-tolerant, and another excellent self-seeder. Everything around it may look dead, but the Coreopsis keeps going. Creeping thyme and salvia are also still blooming. Both of these varieties are perennial plants. They certainly look prettier during cooler weather, but they continue holding their own through summer. This sunblanket Gaillardia blooms nearly year-round. Its puffball seed heads are easy to harvest and readily self-seed throughout the garden. Nearby, oxalis and kalanchoe are doing well thanks to a little afternoon shade. And next to them are volunteer snapdragons growing directly in the rocky soil. Snapdragon seed heads are fascinating. Many people think they look like tiny skulls. You can shake out the seeds or crush the seed pods to release them, and snapdragons are excellent at reseeding themselves. Up near my orchid tree, the potato vine continues to provide dense ground cover in an extremely sunny spot. And my roses still have a few blooms. This particular rose usually flowers heavily in spring and fall, but occasionally surprises me with summer blooms too. I also grow a few edible plants. These are my apple trees. One is Anna, and the other is Dorset Golden. Together, they tend to produce apples throughout much of the summer. Rosemary is another favorite. It absolutely loves the heat and grows into a large shrub with very little care. I harvest from this plant regularly. My oregano looks a bit rough right now and will need a hard trim in the fall, but you can already see fresh green growth emerging from the base. The lavender flowers have faded from purple to gray, but the plant still smells wonderful when brushed or pruned. In fact, this lavender has seeded itself into a neighboring pot. I also left a few leeks in the garden to flower. These beautiful seed heads will provide plenty of new leeks next season. And finally, let's talk about toy onions. They may look dead right now, but they're simply dormant for summer. Dig a little deeper and you will find the living bulbs. Once temperatures cool, they'll begin producing new growth again, and the bulbs will continue multiplying underground. I often dig and divide toy onions during summer to plant elsewhere, or share with other gardeners. So after being unable to garden for nearly 2 months, I learned 2 things. First, my garden is remarkably capable of perpetuating itself without my help, which was exactly my goal. Second, it isn't quite as low maintenance as I thought. A few of my plant choices are a little too enthusiastic. Still, the upside is that those aggressive plants and self-seeding flowers are true survivors here in the Valley of the Sun. If you're looking for plants that can handle heat, drought, and occasional neglect, many of these varieties are worth considering. I hope this tour has given you a few ideas for your own garden. I've included some helpful resources below in the description. Enjoy the summer and happy gardening.